Hello, McFluffy52 here, back some more Magic the Gathering arena action. Today, we are playing a Rakdos Reanimator deck. I'm a pretty big fan of Reanimators, so this is something I've been wanting to put together, a nice Reanimator list, just kind of generic Reanimator list, but it's built around the enchantment Rakdos Joins Up. This is a 5-mana legendary enchantment from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It's 3 generic, a black and a red. And when it enters the battlefield, you can return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with 2 additional counters on it, so it pumps it up a little. And then, while this is on the battlefield, whenever a legendary creature you control dies, it deals damage equal to that creature's power to target opponent. Now, I'm of the belief that Rakdos Joins Up is probably like one of the best Reanimator cards in Standard at the moment, just because the premier reanimation targets are legendary creatures. So we got Etali, Primal Conqueror, the 7-mana 7/7 trampler that when it enters the battlefield, you get a card from top of your library and the opponent's library for free, which is pretty cool. And then you have Atraxa, the big flying, life-linking body that draws you a bunch of cards when it enters the battlefield. Thankfully, we have a bunch of different card types, and Rakdos Joins Up is an enchantment, so we can get actually a bit of a variety of cards whenever Atraxa enters the battlefield. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of the deck. We have some other synergies in the deck. A big one in the deck is Sheoldred, our other kind of like legendary creature. I used to have more legendary creatures, but I gradually cut them as I kind of focused more on the reanimation, and then Sheoldred just being an absolute bomb, especially with some of the fun cards we have in this deck, which is, well, we're going to be drawing and discarding to get our legendary creatures into the graveyard to reanimate. So we have 2 Boros Tunnel Grinders, which you can kind of wheel your entire hand. By that, I mean you can discard any number of cards and then draw that many +1. So that's a great way to trigger Sheoldred a bunch of times. So that's a kind of fun synergy. We have Case of the Crimson Pulse, which is just another great discard outlet because you enters the battlefield, you can discard a card and then draw 2, and then if you have no cards in your hand, which this will happen very rarely, but if you do have it happen, you get the benefit of solving this case, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you discard your hand and draw 2 cards. So how this plays out is you ultimately end up drawing 3 cards each turn, but you have to spend them that turn. So if you're playing against like a heavy control deck and your hand is, or a discard deck, and your hand's completely stripped of value, well, Case of the Crimson Pulse will come in handy and keep refilling it, which is pretty cool. And then Matzalanti, the Great Door. I wish I thought of practicing that pronunciation, but anyways, you can just draw and discard with this card, and then you can transform it, but we're not doing that. Anyways, those are our draw discard outlets, but we also have some discard in our removal here, Bitter Triumph. A lot of the time we're going to be choosing to discard a card as the additional cost rather than paying 3 life, because then we can discard Atraxa or Etali into our graveyard and then reanimate it. We also have 4 Go for the Throat, so we got a strong removal suite so that hopefully we'll be able to survive the first like 3-4 turns, and then turn 4 or 5 rolls around and we play Rakdos Joins Up. And we get our big creature that catches us back up. But then this is, I think, a really cool synergy in the deck. It's a bit like back in Strixhaven Standard, where you'd have like the Shambling Ghast and you would want to sacrifice it. We have Greedy Freebooter, they 1/1 for 1. When it dies, you scry 1 and create a treasure token. So ideally, we play this turn 1, turn 2. We cast Corrupted Conviction, which says as an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. So we sacrifice the Greedy Freebooter, and we get to draw 2 cards. We scry 1, and we also create a treasure token. That's a lot of value to have turn 2, and it can allow us to power out Sheoldred as like soon as turn 3 or reanimate as soon as turn 4. So that is part of a cool combo in the deck, I guess, or synergy rather. And Corrupted Conviction is really nice because there's a lot of exile removal in Standard. And Rakdos Joins Up, its wording is if a legendary creature you control dies. So your opponent might go to exile one of your big legendary creatures, and you can be like, actually, I'm going to sacrifice that, draw 2 cards, and still have it die and do a bunch of damage to your face. The cool thing is with Basically, Rakdos Joins Up and Atraxa or Etali. They're both 7 power. They're going to get 2+1 counters from Rakdos Joins Up. That's going to deal 9 damage. So, yeah, it's going to really hurt your opponent. And the nice thing is, like, Atraxa enters the battlefield. You look at the top 10 cards of your library. You can easily pick up a corrupted conviction, so that if your opponent goes to remove Atraxa, you sacrifice it, draw 2, and still deal the damage. So that's kind of the idea of the deck. Hopefully we can show it off in some games. We do have some kind of good lands here. Conduit Pylons. It's kind of nice because you can mana fix to some degree, but it also enters the battlefield untapped and surveils 1. We're playing a graveyard deck, so we can surveil and put that big Atraxa or Etali into the graveyard for free. That's just like one less thing we have to worry about. Also, set, you know, just surveilling is just good. You can set up the next draw. And then I've adapted the deck to include like 2 Cavern of Souls, because if we name Phyrexian, we can cast Sheoldred, uncounterable. We can cast Atraxa, uncounterable. To cast Atraxa, though, we will need like either treasures from Greedy Freebooter or a Cavern of Souls and Conduit Pylon type effects, so that we can use or produce the green, white, and blue mana. But I have cast Atraxa a few times with this deck. It's not the easiest, but that's why I originally had 1 Cavern of Souls and now we're at 2. And then we also have Rakdos Theater. When it enters the battlefield, we also surveil 1, putting cards in the graveyard. Helpful. This deck is designed so that none of the cards will rotate when the upcoming set releases. I believe it comes out like August 2nd. I'm not sure the exact date, but early in August. Bloomburrow will come out, and New Capenna, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, Crimson Vow, and Midnight Hunt are all going to rotate out of standard. I think that's all of the sets. So if you're unfamiliar with rotation, every year, except last year, cards or like certain sets leave standard, and we're left with certain other, or like all the remaining sets. So the way it works is the 3 years. The set stays in standard for 3 years. So if it was released in like 2021, it's gonna be rotating out. I believe that is correct. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop into some games. I've rambled enough. We can ramble more during the gameplay. Okay. First victim. I'm joking. I've had a bit of a rocky go with this deck. So overall, across all versions of it, all the tweaks I've made, I'm 13-9. So still positive. It's just I don't know if Reanimator is the most meta deck possible. I think we can go ahead and keep this because we have 2 removal spells. They are kind of painful. If our opponent's playing like mono red, this could get out of hand, but I think with this deck, or like Reanimator in general, you have to be very spot on with your mulligans, because, well, you have to get lucky, and then you have to be spot on with your mulligans, because if you really can't afford to keep a bad hand, because sometimes you just draw. I'm running 25 lands. I was originally running 26, but you need to hit the 5th land so that you can actually do the reanimation or cast the reanimation spell, and so that's usually more mana than your average deck wants to get to, and so you gotta run more lands than your average deck, which is usually 24 lands. Opponent doesn't seem to be here for the moment, so I'll go ahead and pause. Alright, opponent decided to keep their hand. Here is nothing. I wanted to say, I was going to make a post, but I felt like I should say it in a video with my own words. Thank you guys so much for all the support in the channel. We hit 700 subscribers kind of a while ago, but I wanted to say it in a video and say how much it meant and how kind of crazy it is that there are like 700 people that chose to actively subscribe, or actively chose to subscribe. It's really hard to imagine numbers that large. Opponent looks like they're playing Boros Convoke. This is going to be kind of rough, but we do have our 1 sweeper in the deck. We are playing 1 Deadly Cover Up. I kind of went back and forth whether or not Sweeper was good in the deck. I decided just one is the move. Because ultimately there's just so much variety in standard right now, with it being so large. And well, I mean, best of one, yeah, it's questionable whether or not there's that much variety, because it's Boros, Convoke, it's mono red. Like, you will see those particular decks a lot, but there's also just like a large pool of cards, so there are other potential decks that you'll face. Opponent out here to an amazing start, so we really need to get on the sweeper plan as soon as possible. Is there a way we die next turn? I don't think so. So as long as we can keep hitting land drops, we have a chance. Question is, do we want a Bitter Triumph or Sheoldred? Sheoldred allows us to gain a bit of life if we play it and then use the door. Opponent decides to swing. Fair enough. We'll draw, discard. Ooh, that is not a land. Okay. Draw, discard. That is a land, but it enters tapped. So can't do anything this turn. I think in an effort to just find lands, I'm gonna play this and then discard again and draw 2 more. No lands. Oh boy. Okay, if the next card on our deck, next 2 cards, because we get another redraw with the Great Door, are not lands, we might be a little bit doomed here. There is probably ways that our opponent kills us from this point with like I don't know what it is, but I feel like, okay, yeah. War Leader's Call. It was either that or like Imadane's Recruiter, which pumps everything up and gives it haste. Surely we draw a land, right? Surely. Oh my goodness. Alright. We will deadly cover up. Aklazot's Flying Lifelink seems a little bit better than... We'll collect evidence. Now we have to decide, what do we not like that we don't ever want to see again. I think Resolute Reinforcements is a good option. Luminarch Veteran isn't a bad option, but they're probably not playing a ton of them. The reason it's a good option is if we exile it, they can't recast it from their graveyard because it has the Disturb and the backside. But I think Resolute Reinforcement represents the biggest problem. Oh gosh. One of the bigger problems because it adds multiple creatures to the battlefield. They have a nice hand. I mean, we can Sheoldred, Corrupted Conviction. They can play the other creature and then Convoke. Yeah, the sweeper did nothing. That's kinda how it goes. Well, I don't think there's a way out of this, is there? And pretend like this makes a difference. Okay. And then we'll block with the greedy Freebooter and then sacrifice it. Hopefully that saves us, but I'm not really going to do the math. This math is for blockers. Wait, I'm the blocker. Hold on. I still don't feel like doing math. I'm a person who likes to play games to relax, and sometimes that involves not thinking the hardest. Convoke. They're just gonna kill us with Convoke. Kill us with kindness. They are convoking, which is strange to me. Because they give us another turn with like Sheoldred, the Great Door. Interesting. Hey. There's some chance we win. Maybe. I don't know why our opponent didn't just attack. They have like a sizable board. I guess they want to keep things in their hand, but they have a clue. They have the Knight Errant of Eos for later. So, not sure what that was about, but fair enough. They had 1 mana that we used to cast a soldier. Is this not a soldier? It's a cleric. Okay. I'll do this now. Scry 1. That is an Atraxa. That represents something. What did I play this on? Human. Oh yeah, I forgot I had to hit human. Okay. Draw, discard. Yeah, discard Atraxa. Because we can't cast it anyways. Play a land. Etali and just hope to hit amazing. And Atraxa is pretty good. I'll destroy theirs. I could make a bunch of blockers is one thing. I'll make a bunch of blockers. Atraxa, we get a bunch of value. Land. Removal. Wheel. Atraxa 3. No attacks. Do your worst, opponent. I mean, we can just wheel our entire hand with Brass's Tunnel Grinder and try and gain a bunch of life. I feel like we should have been dead. But, sometimes you don't die. I don't know what I'm saying. How are you guys excited? Are you all excited for Bloomburrow and rotation? I'm pretty excited for it. Bloomburrow, a little sad though that like the green, the kind of green archetype happens to be frogs that like bounce themselves back to their own hands, because that sounds not very playable to me. At least in current standard. Green did get like, if it's not apparent, I'm an advocate for green, at least in standard right now, because it's been so bad for so long. I don't know why I have such an affinity for the color. Like, I like it a lot. Doesn't necessarily mean I actually like what the color does in Magic. I just like the color in general, like as a color. Yeah, green. I feel like there's got to be something that the designers could do more to help green be more like appealing as a design, like from a design standpoint. All right, draw, discard. I mean, I already announced what I'm doing here. Wheel time, baby. Here goes nothing. Should I keep any of them? Nah. I mean, we need to gain a bunch of life anyways, so. That's so insane. That is so insane. Oh my goodness. I love it. It's perfect. It's everything I dreamed of. And then we Rakdos Joins Up. I should have done this after attacking. It's fine. So we get a free card. So I could have made a bigger Atraxa, but we get free card. Greedy Freebooter, Novice Inspector, and Greedy Freebooter. See, our plan is not to kill our opponent through attacks, it's to kill them through Rakdos Joins Up. We have 19 cards left in library. We have 2 Corrupted Convictions left in library. We just need to find them. We're going to gain 7 more life. We're going to go up to 30 life. The dream is still alive. What the heck? I mean, we kill them if we get to back to our turn. We just Rakdos Joins Up a legendary and legend rule it, and then they die to the Rakdos Joins Up trigger. So we did it. We took down Boros Convoke. That's a big bunny. I'll give you that. You have Fling. Bunny Fling. That sounds actually pretty spicy. Bunnies are going to be like a strong archetype, or rabbit, I think they're technically called. They're going to be strong archetype from Bloomborough, I think, but we did it. We got there. Holy moly. That was awesome. Okay. You go first. Nothing but 4 drops, 5 drop, and a 3 drop. This seems like a mulligan. This is like one of those hands where I was like, you can't keep garbage. Now, this is garbage, but I might still keep it because I really don't want to go down another card. Maybe we keep Aklazots instead of Atraxa. We get the Surveil turn 1 with the Conduit Pylon, so that's why like both those hands had some merit to them. We don't have anything to target really for the next 2 turns, so for next 4 turns. What am I saying? It's mono red. Okay, we just need to get to Sheoldred. I believe. Okay. Top deck to land. Not ideal. Oh, this was one of the things I meant to kind of address. You're kidding me. Alright, whatever. This gives it menace. Yeah. And trample. Okay, one of those 8 removal spells would be pretty cool. I mean, I'm gonna play the Greedy Freebooter. Not gonna not play it, but we are probably very dead. Illuminator Virtuoso is one of those threats that you cannot leave on the battlefield. Oh, getting back to what I was saying earlier, I always do this, but where I get distracted and forget about it, and then maybe talk about it later, maybe not. I was gonna talk about why I haven't been posting for like a while, because I know I saw a comment from I think it was 11 days ago asking any like new videos soon, and well, I haven't really been checking the YouTube, but I also just haven't really been playing Arena that much. I mean, I played some Modern Horizon 3 draft, but Standard over like these summer months I find gets kind of repetitive. Okay, well, we are dead. I said Phyrexian, but maybe we live. But yeah, I was gonna say that Standard gets a bit stale because there's just so much time between sets, and then in this particular Standard, I feel like at least in Best of 1, you get the monotonous grind of mono red aggro decks, and then like the response to that, which is control, heavy control decks. Yeah, we did. Maybe they'll die before us. Draw like 7 more cards. Okay. We tried. We didn't draw any of our 8 removal spells, and sometimes that's how it goes. Alrighty. This hand, it tempts me. When you see like Brass's Tunnel Grinder, it's like I get a free mulligan, sort of. I just have to waste my turn 3. It's okay. More removal? We take it. It looks like we're playing against control though, so this deck I feel like does pretty well against kind of stalemate controlled style things, because Atraxa just pushes out so much value. You just draw a bunch of cards, a big life linking body, and then with our particular reanimation spell, if you kill it, you take damage. That's pretty good. I should have played the mountain. I don't think this life point will matter, but good. Yeah, we keep the Bitter Triumph. If they're playing Control, Orzhov, Esper, they might be playing Planeswalkers, and Bitter Triumph allows us to hit Planeswalkers. As I was saying previously, I haven't been playing a ton of Arena, but I will say that like, it doesn't mean I don't enjoy Magic as a game. I've been playing. I've been perhaps a little bit too obsessed with commander decks, making commander decks. I think this is something I've mentioned a bit previously, but I think I'm gonna make a EDH channel or a commander channel and try and share some of like the deck lists that I've created and that, or like my thought process on like the brewing deck side. Removal.deck. You have an answer to this. Aha. Wait, Etali. I forgot Etali was in our graveyard. Free spell 2. We got rid of one of their Go for the Throats. Now, if they have an exile spell, I will cry, but what's that wrath called again? Okay, that was not an exile spell, but that was a wrath. They didn't do the whole deadly cover-up thing. Sheoldred, sure, I'll take it. Can't really say no to Sheoldred. What do we got? Yeah, I don't need another greedy freebooter. But like when our opponents are going 1 for 1, this deck feels very strong. But when our opponents are going wide or like crazy, it can be really rough. That doesn't happen often. We flipped our Brass's Tunnel Grinder, and this means whenever we cast a permanent spell, we get a free card with it. Yay. Opponent concedes. I don't know what they were up to. Seems like they had a bad draw. Happens. Okay, this hand's weird. It's not terrible, because we have the Bitter Triumph. We can discard one of the Etalis, and then Rakdos Joins Up. Double Cavernous Souls is a little awkward, though. But it does mean we can cast one on Phyrexian and the other one on Dinosaur. And make both of our potential, like, spells uncounterable. Which is nice. Opponent's playing blue. Fairy Avatar. Maybe they're playing mono blue. Don't see mono blue often, but it does happen. Dinosaur Phyrexian. Alright, let's see if we can get rid of some of these cards. Ship it. Counter. I don't see why they wouldn't counter. They held up 2 mana unless they have a card draw spell. There is Anticipate in the front. Syncopate. Oh god, no. It's the Mind Splice Apparatus decks. Ugh. Okay, that's not good. And we just drew poo poo. That's what we drew. The deuce. That does work. Oh, or is it? Okay. You know, 25 lands. Drawn. This is just a scheduled loss, as perhaps I should say. Okay. Still not a land. It's a draw discard spell. Will it resolve? Troll Star, may I please? Please? This is the permission match where we need our opponent's permission to do anything. Permission denied. Yo, if we could just draw lands, this would be going perfectly because we'd catch Sheoldred, uncounterable. Keep drawing more lands, cast Etali, uncounterable. But nope. This is just disgraceful. Like, this is a scheduled loss. Heard somebody say scheduled loss. It was about a competitive, like, sport thing. And they're going up against one of the toughest opponents. And they're like, it's just a scheduled loss. I think that's very funny. Counter. Nope, it's totally counterable. Gosh, they didn't counter it. If you don't know, if you cast a counter spell, it like confirms whether or not you want to uncounter a spell, incounterable spells on Arena, which I think is hilarious. I feel like it probably should not. Surveil. What do we got? What do we got? I don't need a I don't need another Sheoldred, I'm not gonna lie. Sheoldred is not necessary to our plans here. What is our opponent up to? Sure. If I cast this Rakdos Joins Up, it's gonna get countered, but it forces them to do something rather than draw cards. But if they draw cards, they draw cards into Sheoldred. Or they might just remove Sheoldred in response to the Rakdos Joins Up. Which is probably the right move, because then... Nope. Permission denied. We're not going to be able to reanimate in this matchup. We're just going to have to wait until the Cavern of Souls come online with Etali. So our opponent... I have no idea what they're doing. That's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. Yeah, you cannot draw and discard a bunch with the Sheoldred on the battlefield. Back when Sheoldred was the absolute menace of Standard, and you'd play like Fable the Mirrorbreaker, it hurt so much to be drawing and discarding with Fable the Mirrorbreaker. I miss Fable the Mirrorbreaker though. What a fun card. It was broken, but it was fun. You have to understand. That is such a commander card. I don't know why they're playing it. Yo, lands. Lands, please. If I attack in, they might cast a Hullbreaker. I can't wait until that card rotates. Hullbreaker, 7 mana, flash whenever you cast a spell. Return target spell or permanent to their owner's hand. It was uncounterable. Good times. Good times. Not really. Yay! Sheoldred just did the thing where it existed and the opponent lost. Magic. Okay. Keepable. 3 mana, double removal. Good, like, curve topping. Tap lands. And 1. It's all just going swimmingly. Right. Oh my goodness, we're against Liam Neeson. What are we gonna do? What am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna murder his creature. It's not really like great, but it's better than them having another way to trigger their kind of life gain payoffs, like Voice of the Blessed, for instance. Go ahead and draw 2. Trying to find a land. Not allowed. No lands in this. No lands in this house. Not allowed. My goodness. What is going on? It's called variance, baby. Geeks. Geeks, 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 geeks. Geeks is dead. And so is my dreams of playing any of my cards. But we descended because we cast it on our turn. That is like one of the annoying things with this card is it only cares if you descended on your turn. So if you can't really cast it on your opponent's turn and get the counters that you need to flip it into the land. They took Rakdos Joins Up instead of Sheoldred. Do they have another bat? Hi, Sheoldred. What? Is this another scheduled loss? I don't know how it... Was I... Oh yeah, we won against that Izzet deck that I thought was going to be a scheduled loss. Wasn't that the game that I was saying we're going to lose? I think our opponent in that game was playing on a budget. And so they didn't really have or they were new to Magic maybe. And they flooded out like crazy. They had so many lands. Happens. We get to solve our case. Alright. Land. My goodness, it's a land. Uh-oh. Farewell, Sheoldred. You served us well. The opponent's about to gain a bunch of life and kill it with Gumdrop Poisoner, and their Voice of the Blessed is about to be massive. Pay respects to Sheoldred while it lives. Gumdrop Poisoner coming down from the top rope. Oh, land. What? You could have killed it. But now I get Etali. That's crazy. I mean, I think the best option here is just go for the Etali. Free cards are pretty good. And it also sets it up so that if they kill the Sheoldred, they die. Not really, but it is kind of unsynergistic that the fact that they're holy moly. That this, because well, it's not unsynergistic, it's kind of really bad that this gives -/, because that means our power is going to be low for our payoffs, or our Rakdos Joins Up. It's going to do 0 damage because it's going to have 0 toughness and 0 power if they kill it that way. Corrupted Conviction is funny, but I think we just grab Atraxa again, right? I mean, that's not bad. They got an Etali, an Atraxa, a Caustic Bronco. And if they kill the board, they might die. Gain 3 life. Play this. They gain 2. Oh. I know you're trying to make your Voice of the Blessed indestructible, but this seems bad. I guess they're gonna kill Sheoldred, but you just gave us a Rakdos Joins Up. I guess they gain the life they need to make Voice of the Blessed indestructible here. Oh, they can kill Atraxa. Opponent just concedes. Hey, okay. What? What? I know you had no cards in hand and I had a full grip, but that Voice of the Blessed could have gone all the way. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's a win. Alright, that is going to do it for today's deck. I forget what exactly I was going to say. Well, I will say that we ended 19 and 10, but I don't think that's entirely indicative of how this deck would perform in like just the ranked ladder. Like if you get up to like platinum diamond, I think you're going to struggle a lot more because we only saw like maybe one Boros Convoke deck and one mono red deck. And we just saw like the Orzhov Lifegain deck that the opponent was playing there. And I think those sorts of decks, those are like make up a good portion of the meta. And then you have like Azori's Control, which I think represent like tougher matchups than the decks that we played against today. But I still think this deck is fun. If you like Reanimator, this is, I think, a pretty decent deck. You get the whole I win with Sheoldred effect as well, so I know that's good. I just really wanted to put together a Reanimator list, and I think this one turned out well. I tried to make a lot of tweaks to it. I'm happy with it. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna hopefully be posting more videos and playing more Arena in the next like upcoming weeks, because Bloomberg is coming out soon, and I want to, well, finish this mastery pass because I bought like the thing where you get the extra rewards, and I want to be prepared and up to shape with my 1v1 constructed standard magic. So look forward to more videos, hopefully. Anyways, have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Ciao.